Our game's ending. Just hit double zeros. Isn't that amazing? Hunter Simmons comes in after O'Neal gets just absolutely clocked. And he comes in 8 out of 10, 75 yards and one touchdown. While the entire day, O'Neal was 14 of 22 for 120 yards and one interception. Maybe if they would have played Simmons early, how is Simmons sitting behind O'Neal? Like I saw Simmons before the touchdown pass, he sat in the pocket and just got absolutely clocked to throw a check down to the running back who got the first down. I'm sitting there like, that's a quarterback right there. Like, O'Neal would have probably ran around, probably ran backwards for 30 yards and gotten sacked. Whereas Simmons sat there, took the hit, and then I think it was like the very next play, he threw the touchdown. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm watching the sideline clips of Fickle, and just no emotion. Just like he's not like firing up his team. He's not yelling. He's nothing. Like I've coached football. I've played football. I played a lot of football. I played and I coached a lot of football. And one thing that always scared me were coaches that just had zero emotion. Like just because that's passion. You can't be a coach. You can't be a player and just sit there on the sidelines, just stone cold face, like a sociopath. It just kind of shows me like where his head's at. I mean, maybe he doesn't even want to be at Wisconsin anymore. I know it would be really hard for Wisconsin to fire him because I mean, I think I Googled it during while they were playing, and he has like a $25 million buyout this year, which is absolutely insane. And here's the crazy part. McIntosh, the athletic director, actually gave Fickle an extension this past year. Why? They missed their first bowl game in 22 years, and he gets an extension. So we're rewarding a guy for being terrible. So then he goes into this season, and it's very clear that he's still doing the same garbage coaching that he's been doing. I've been saying a lot of this stuff for over a year, and I was getting bashed last year online. Making comments on Wisconsin football groups on Facebook and stuff, and I was getting trashed, like just absolutely just blown apart by people that are like, "You need to stay loyal. You don't know what you're talking about." No, I do know what I'm talking about. I've played football. I've coached football. Maybe I didn't play D1, but when you know football, you know football, and you can see things that other people can't see. I'm not saying I'm some magician or that I understand anything and everything about football, but you can clearly see when you look at a coach on the screen and just stone cold, just no facial expression, just chewing gum, not doing anything to fire up his guys, not doing anything, like just has no care in the world. It's like he doesn't even want to be there. And it shows through the football team. They're not playing aggressively. And I said this last year, and people didn't like it. But I noticed something last year where when the Badgers started losing in the fourth quarter, the team had no mental toughness. They just shut down. This game was a little different in that the defense played actually pretty decent. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. They kept them in the game. I mean, honestly, if the defense didn't play as well as they did, that game would have been a full-blown blowout. Like, that would have been like 45-0. But the defense, at least, I think, kept them a little closer than the game actually really was. The offense is god-awful. The offense shut down. The O-line, what was it, 6 sacks or 7 sacks? How do you expect? I mean, ask Joe Burrow how he's doing with his O-line. You can't protect a quarterback if he's spending, if he's getting pummeled, getting 6-7 sacks a game. And that's not including all the hits. I mean, there's a reason why O'Neal, I got his name right, O'Neal, he couldn't finish the game. I mean, he got just absolutely destroyed, which sucks for him. But, I mean, I think we all kind of saw that coming just with how he was playing. And this game, I mean, if something doesn't change after this game, then I don't know what we do as fans. I know there. I mean, I don't know if you saw, for those watching the game, you saw the student section by the fourth quarter after jump around, and it was like three quarters empty. There's nothing to cheer with this team. I knew they weren't coming back in the fourth quarter. I mean, it would have taken a miracle to come back in the fourth quarter, especially after Maryland threw that last touchdown. I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Unless for some reason like Maryland just went on a complete meltdown and like threw three interceptions and then had, like two fumbles and stuff like that. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. So where do we go from here? So if someone said like, oh, like McIntosh shouldn't be fired, he runs really great other programs, great, then make him just the AD for those other programs. But I mean, the other argument too is like he inherited a lot of these programs, and he's had established coaches, so maybe that's why they're doing better. Fickle was his hire, and he's doing god awful. So I think McIntosh needs to get away from the football aspect. Whether he gets fired completely or they remove him from just the football aspect and bring in somebody that actually knows football, because it's very clear McIntosh doesn't understand football, and he definitely doesn't understand the NIL football. I mean, that's completely different. There's a reason why Nick Saban left the NCAA when he did. He saw the writing on the wall. It's a tough avenue, but when Wisconsin's a top 20 revenue football team in the country, top 20 out of all the programs, but they're not even top 20. I don't think they're not even top 50 for NIL. They don't release their NIL, I think, for a reason. There's reasons why, like Ohio State and Oregon, they're saying, hey, we've spent $35-40 million on our roster. It's because players know, hey, I can go to these programs and make some money. Whereas teams like the Badgers don't say jack, because they're probably spending at best $5 million. At best. I would be surprised if they spent $5 million on NIL. I would probably venture to say it's probably closer to like $3 million. Even though they could spend up to I think it's like $21 million, because that's going to be like the new salary cap. But it's crazy that you have a program that makes so much money but doesn't want to spend a dime of it. And that's Wisconsin for you. I mean, that's Wisconsin football for you. That's Wisconsin University for you. They're going to give you a product just good enough to get you to spend money, but not good enough where they have to actually spend their money. Not really their money. It's the money that you spent towards the program in hopes that, it's going to help the program, build the program, but they're not going to spend it. They're going to keep it for whatever dumb fucking or whatever dumbass reason that they have, whether it's, whether it's to build another stupid thing or bonuses or some other stupid agenda that they got going. They don't want to spend it on football. They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of winning championships, unfortunately. And that's the downfall for Wisconsin fans. And I'm hoping that this changes something, because we clearly need a new AD. We clearly need somebody that's like a football czar, like kind of what Stanford did with Andrew Luck, bringing him in. Somebody that knows football, somebody that knows how to that understands the intricacies. And maybe it's not 100% Fickle's fault, because if he can only recruit so much, if McIntosh and the Board of Governors, or whoever they're called, Board of Regents or Regent, I don't care what they're called, if they're like, hey, we're not going to spend the money, what's he going to do? Fickle can only do so much. At the same time, his teams are completely undisciplined. And discipline doesn't just mean penalties on the field. We're talking mental toughness. We're talking about execution. We're talking about doing the little things, fundamentals. You could tell looking. I'm watching O'Neal, and I'm watching his footwork. I'm watching where he's holding onto the football when he's dropping back. I'm looking at his head as he's trying to make read-progressions, and it's just not there. And you can tell he's not being coached up. He's being coached, but he's not being coached up. So there's not a good QB coach. very clear. But he's also not a very good QB to begin with. And this is where the NIL comes in. You can recruit a half-decent quarterback. Maryland did, and they just kicked their butts. So I'm hoping changes come. I know firing Fickle right now isn't going to change anything for this season. Let's be honest with that. As a Badgers fan, I can admit that. So you can fire Fickle now and spend the $25 million. But nothing's going to change for the rest of the year. It's not like all of a sudden miraculously we're going to win out the Big Ten and we're going to get into a New Year's Day bowl game. No, that's not going to happen. If anything, was at the very best, we'll stay at the status quo. But there's no, even if you brought in a top-of-the-line coach to finish out the year, the recruiting period's over. He's stuck with whatever players. Now, I do think that Grimes, I believe that's his name for the offensive coordinator, I know 10-year-olds that call better plays. I mean, I could literally put a 10-year-old and have him play NCAA football, and he'll call better plays. And he can just take those plays and just radio them in. And probably win more football games, probably score more touchdowns. I mean, how you have Dupree, who just has an electric 11 or 13-yard gain, and then you decide to pass for the next 3. Like, there's a reason why the running backs can't hit 100 yards because you're not giving them the ball enough. Just because you give them the ball 5 times and they may only get 20 yards or 15 yards, you have to build up. Like, you have to give them opportunities. Now, granted, our O-line sucks. I mean, I've seen Sibs hold back more. Like seriously, it's unbelievable. I'm watching the left tackle. He can't block. He can't block for anything. I don't know how he got into Division I football. Especially against a team like Maryland. No offense to Maryland, but they're not a power. They're not a top 20 team. Last year they were bottom of the barrel for the Big Ten. So it's not like they were playing some like the 3rd-rated team in the country or the 10th-rated team in the country. This is a team that was probably ranked 70, 80th in the country last year, and now we're worse. So one thing, a comment that I made on Facebook that I firmly believe is that this game showcased 2 things. Maryland is a program on the rise in the Big Ten because they have a good coach and they have a competent QB, a true freshman QB, by the way. So if he doesn't get too big for his britches and he decides to stay all 4 years, they have a good shot of doing some great things. Sinking quickly, sinking ever so quickly into the abyss. This is a program that's going to be I don't know if they could even compete in the MAC, okay, or the new Pac-12. This is a team that can't even compete with the bottom tier Big Ten. So a lot of answers a lot of questions that need to be answered coming up, after week, going into the Wolverines game. I don't think much is going to change. I think that the University of Wisconsin really needs to sit down and start looking at the fact that, just judging by what I saw on TV, is fans are starting to get frustrated. And eventually it's going to, I think, we live in a time where information is so readily available. And this isn't like back in the day where, maybe not all the games were televised locally or, or even nationally or, back with 20 years ago, I couldn't just go on my phone and just be able to look at stats instantaneously. So, we live in a time where information is readily available. People are just fed up. They're seeing all the negatives. They're seeing the trend downward. So fans are going to start spending less money. And that's going to cause some problems because Wisconsin's all about making money. So when it starts hurting their pocketbooks, they might finally start doing something. It's not going to be anything meaningful until they start spending money to get good players, because that's just the climate that we're in. There's no doubt about it. Nothing's going to change that right now. You have to spend money to compete. If you don't want to spend the money, you're not going to compete. You're going to be a bottom barrel football team, and then as a result, your fans are going to start not spending money. They're not going to come to games. I see all week. I saw people trying to sell their tickets for today's game, and you saw the start of the Badger game on TV, and the entire student section was empty until like midway or end of the first quarter, and then they left after jump around. So I think things need to change. I hope they change. I think I'm going to change my revision of how they're going to fare for the rest of the season. I think the Badgers, because I actually had this slated as a win. Just knowing how bad Maryland was last year, but seeing how terrible they played, and against Maryland, I think the Badgers will be lucky if they get 4 wins for the rest of the season. There's no way they're making it to a bowl game. They're playing there's no way that the Badgers are competing against number 9 team in the country, number 3rd, I think the number 3 team, or technically I think Oregon dropped to 6. And Ohio State's 1, Michigan's number 21. So it's not like we're not competing against these teams. I mean, we lost to Maryland. We got blown out by Maryland. We're not competing with any of these other teams. So that's my rant. It's frustrating as a Badgers fan because we're so loyal to our teams and we love our teams, but it sucks when you look. I mean, I would much rather watch from like 10 years ago where it was just a boring run team, but at least we're scoring points. We're staying in. We're competing. We're competing for Big Ten championships at the very least. I mean, we were never going to win a national championship, but at least we felt happy because we're competing for Big Tens. We're going to decent bowl games, but now we're not even going to make a bowl game for the second straight year. I mean, we're far. I mean, everyone's saying this is like back in the 70s and 80s. I'm like, I wouldn't know. I wasn't around in the 70s, so it's not like I know what that's like. But that's what it. But I'm assuming that's basically what's happening right now. So I'm hoping things change. I'm not very optimistic for next week against the Wolverines. I guess we'll have to just see how much faster the dumpster keeps rolling down the hill. So sorry guys that we had such a crappy game. I hope I'm wrong and we win more than 4 games. We make a bowl game, but I don't think we will. But until next time, this is Scotty Says, and I'll see you guys next time.